Hi guys! Hope everybody's doing well on this Tuesday at 2. Coming in with some value for you. My name is Jessica Travis, and what I like to do is take information, data, research, all of the good, really meaty stuff, and I like to try to break it down into practical application. And I've been wanting to talk to you guys about turmeric for a while, and it seems like a good time as any, right? Because it's kind of on everybody's mind right now. But I thought we should talk about some things that are maybe lesser known about turmeric, and also hit on the stuff that we already know and love, but really emphasize how incredibly amazing this herb, this root, this medicine of the earth. In fact, the Latin word means sacred earth, literally. That's what the meaning of turmeric in Latin means, sacred earth. And I loved this quote. Let me find it. I have a binder as usual. Okay, so the quote that I loved was actually from this lab director at the internationally accredited science laboratory, CWC Labs. He said, "If turmeric had been invented by a pharmaceutical company, it would be hailed as the greatest breakthrough in medical history." So they would call it the greatest breakthrough in medical history if a pharmaceutical company had come up with it. But it's actually in the ground. It wasn't invented, right? It was created, and we found it. And we're learning and more understanding how incredibly beneficial it is. So I wanted to talk about some of the most incredible things. I wanted to talk about turmeric essential oil today. I know a lot of people know about turmeric, the actual root, and sometimes the words turmeric and curcumin can be used interchangeably, so that some people think turmeric is curcumin, but curcumin is just one constituent or one part of the root. And did you know that there's curcumin in the essential oil? Curcumin is it's the yellowish orange pigment that gives it that color. So even when you have the essential oil, I don't know if that's gonna show up. Is it gonna show up? You can't see that, can you? And then my finger is kind of yellowish too. But there's the smell. There is that yellow orangish tint or hue to the actual essential oil. That's the curcumin. So there is curcumin in turmeric essential oil. What there is more of are the turmerones, okay? From when you look at the side, it says turmeric rhizome. Rhizome means the root. So you're going to have more of the turmerones, a much larger percentage than the curcumin, but there is curcumin in turmeric essential oil, in case you didn't know that, okay? And that is important because that constituent or that part of it is hugely beneficial, as are the other hundreds of components of turmeric essential oil. Sometimes we say, okay, there's curcumin and then there's turmerones. There's way more than that in turmeric essential oil. In fact, let's see, there are over 300 phenolic compounds in turmeric essential oil. Over 300 compounds. So this is, sorry about my voice, this is an incredibly complex essential oil, and we can't just drill it down to one thing and say, oh, because it has this component, this is the benefit. Yes, there's a huge benefit because of that, but there's like a slew of other benefits that we don't want to not understand or brush aside and think that turmeric is good for one thing. We already know it's good for a lot of things, but it's good for a lot more than even we know or even that we're familiar with. So I'm going to tell you about some of the cool things that I didn't know that it was really good for. So we know it's in the same, it's like in the root, like the ginger family. Super, super good as far as antioxidant. Really, really powerful. Hey guys, if you are watching this and you have somebody who's interested in turmeric, if you have a team or somebody who, people that you know of that are interested in knowing the benefits of turmeric, hit share. Share this video now. This is going to be very helpful for you today in helping people understand the benefits of turmeric essential oil. So share the love. Share this video if you are someone who also knows people who need to know about turmeric, okay? Share away. That's my plug for sharing. Okay, so again, I already told you that turmeric and curcumin are used interchangeably. They're not the same thing. Curcumin is one of the major active compounds in turmeric, and it's also in the essential oil. I know for me personally, I would think of the powder as curcumin, and then I would think of the oil as turmerones, but it's not. It's not. There's curcumin in the oil. So that's something that you need to understand. Okay, so powerful. What the major compounds that are in the oil are the AR, which is aromatic turmerone. Okay, so R-turmerone, AR-turmerone, alpha-turmerone, beta-turmerone, and curcumin. Those are the major parts of this, and those are all sesquiterpenes. What do we know about sesquiterpenes? We know for sure, based on science and research that has been done, that they pass through the blood-brain barrier. So we know that all the major constituents, the most powerful constituents in turmeric essential oil, are going to be readily accessible to the brain. They cross the blood-brain barrier. That's huge if we're talking about anything neuro. So I know sometimes we think of turmeric for a lot of things with antioxidant, and we think of inflammation, and we think about helping support the body's immune system and support the body as far as inflammation. We don't always think about how extremely powerful turmeric is for the neuroprotective aspects and for the neuroactive aspects. Not just protecting the brain, but working and making things happen in the brain. In the brains of people with injuries to their brain. In the brains of people that are having degenerative processes in their brain. All backed up by science. I'm not citing any research studies, and I'm not making any medical claims. What I'm doing is making the connection between what turmeric does by crossing the blood-brain barrier, how it has antioxidant and the balance and the support of inflammation, and what that means by when you know that it's going to readily pass into the brain, okay? It also promotes oxygen in your brain, brings hormonal balance. Sometimes we think of hormones as like female hormones, male hormones. Hormones are everywhere. Yes, Tara, children can take this. Hormones are not just like reproductive hormones, or we think of, okay, thyroid, there's parathyroid, those are hormones. Or we tend to think of hormones as being like in certain locations. Hormones are everywhere, including your brain, and they have to do with every single process in your body. So when you think of an essential oil as balancing that, that's another huge thing, okay? They promote and support liver health. Guys, our liver is extremely important. We talk about chronic things happening with people that have chronic issues, all going back to the liver, and how the liver is kind of what you really want to make sure I want to make sure I'm using the right language, that your liver is functioning properly, that it's supported, that it's not full of fat, that it's not full of toxins, that it's a nice clean sponge. It's not a sponge full of gunk and fat clogging up the little spongy holes. We want it's like a nice clean sponge that you get when you first buy it, and you squeeze the water out and then you let it out, and it's just so nice and spongy, right? We want our liver to be like that. We don't want our liver to be like hard and crusty and full of all kinds of goop. So that might be a little bit much for some of you who are visual, but that's how I visualize a liver that's not healthy. So when you have an oil that supports liver health, big deal. Okay, then one thing that I didn't know, we're gonna totally switch gears, is for beautification. Okay, so I do personally use turmeric, and I'll either use like coconut oil or castor oil, and I actually put turmeric on my face at night. And it's interesting because when you put it on your face, it doesn't, the smell is one of the things. When I first smelled it, I was not excited about it, okay? But when you put it on your skin, I don't know what's been your experience, but when I put it on my skin along with a carrier oil, it actually smells nice. And my daughter comes and cuddles up to me and says, "You smell good." And I'm like, "Really?" I have turmeric on my skin, and she likes it. So it actually changes when you put it on your skin. But what it does is, did you know that it's known for lightening areas of darkened pigmentation? So hyperpigmentation in areas where you have darkened skin, it's known to help lighten those. It's also known to discourage excessive hair growth. So even if you're anything like me and you have hair in places that you don't want it, I had no idea that turmeric was known for discouraging unwanted hair growth. But then it encourages hair growth on your head and discourages hair loss on your head. So how smart of an oil this is. What you think about our human body, and this is being organic, and it knows hormonally, right? What is hair growth? Excessive hair growth in the wrong place, loss of hair growth where it should be. What is all that because of? It's because of hormones. So if your hormones are balanced, then you're going to have less hair growth where you shouldn't have it and more hair growth where you should have it. Makes sense, right? So it all works together, you guys. It all works together. Improving skin elasticity, reducing wrinkles. Oh, sunburn. So it is not only protective, so it's called photoprotective. You've heard of photosensitive. So we know our citrus oils, you have to be careful when you put the citrus oils and you go out in the sun. Guess what? Turmeric is photoprotective. So when you put turmeric on, it protects your skin against the sun's rays. And then it's another one that's incredible if you've already done too much sun, to help with sunburn, to help soothe the sunburn and heal your skin. So both ways, before you go out in the sun and then after you go out in the sun, use turmeric to soothe that redness and that irritation. I was talking recently about the cracked heels. It's incredible to use on the cracked heels of your skin. Rub that in with some carrier castor oil on your heels and use that at night. I have so many things to say that I don't want to go overboard. So that's for that. I already talked about reducing. So if your scalp is inflamed, then your hair is not going to want to grow. It's going to make it difficult for you to have that healthy head of hair that you want. So that's why those properties, those antioxidant properties of the turmeric, make it much more likely that your hair is going to do what it's supposed to do, where it's supposed to do it. What's recommended is to massage the turmeric into areas where you have deep wrinkles. So if you have, like I have these lines on my forehead, so you want to massage the turmeric into the areas where you have the wrinkles. And that's going to help. Okay? That's going to help stimulate new cells to grow. We know what we want. We want collagen, right? To fill in those crevices. Okay, talked about scalp, hair growth. I'm going to skip the C word. We're not talking about that, but you can do your own research and you can blow your own minds by looking up what this oil has been shown to do in cases where people have had malignancies. That's something that you need to look up on your own and see what you. I talked about the brain and cognitive function. So BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. That's the good juice that helps with neuroplasticity and growth of new neurons, new nerve cells that we used to think we didn't grow anymore after a certain age. Now we know That BDNF is like the juice that feeds the new neurons, right? Guess what turmeric does? It increases or supports that BDNF. So it makes sense that certain things that have to do with processes in the brain where people have a loss of cognitive function, memory, things of that sort. You can probably think of some things that people suffer from that cause them to have those types of situations. Turmeric has been shown to improve that just by smelling it. Remember the AR turmerone, the aromatic turmerone aspect of the turmeric essential oil? You diffuse that, and just by breathing that, it improves memory and cognitive capability. So think about that for not only people who maybe are aging and having a decline, but for those of us who are still right stuck in the middle, or maybe young ones who need to have that sharpness when they're concentrating or wanting to focus. So that's another thing. What else? Don't want to go there. You guys can go there. Occasional discomfort, let's just put it that way. I think we already know about occasional discomfort and the power of turmeric. Remember, you have the turmerones, you have the curcumin, both in the essential oil. Layer that with frankincense, and you are going to have an extremely pleasant experience, especially when you have occasional aches, occasional discomfort. Use that. You can make a salve. You can make a salve with your favorite carrier, and you can make that something that will actually last longer when you use it in a salve preparation than when you just rub on the oil. But always remember to put a carrier over top so that it doesn't flash off. You don't want the AR turmerone if you're dealing with something that is an occasional discomfort. You don't want to smell it. You want to drive it in, and you want to get those other benefits as far as inflammation and antioxidant, right? So you want to put on top of the turmeric and maybe some frank for good measure, a carrier like coconut oil or your carrier of choice to seal that in, drive it in, and then remember your half-life is not that long, so you want to repeat. Keep repeating it. You're not going to overdo it if you do it every couple of hours. Okay, you want to have a high quality therapeutic grade turmeric because you want to have that high percentage of the alpha curcumin plus the turmerones, and that's what you're going to have. You want to look for it to say curcuma longa, and then doTERRA's has a supplement fact that clearly states the turmeric rhizome is where that it's getting it from, which is in the root. So that's what you want to look for. So I'm filming down here. So I'm just reminding that I'm filming. So I just had a question about what's the difference between the turmeric essential oil and the capsules. The dual chamber capsules are actually the turmeric essential oil, and then that's layered outside of the turmeric powder. The turmeric powder it has a much higher concentration of the curcumin. So what we have seen and science has shown is that turmeric and the turmerones are actually able to make their curcumin much more bioavailable, meaning bioavailable means that their curcumin is actually able to get into the cell and do its work, which we know has so many helpful benefits. And people take large doses of this curcumin powder, and they're not getting the benefit because it's not bioavailable. When you pair it with the essential oil in that dual chamber capsule, you're able to get so much more bioavailability. But you can also do that yourself by taking the turmeric essential oil. There is the powder form of turmeric in doTERRA's Lifelong Vitality, in doTERRA's Deep Blue Polyphenols. There are several products that doTERRA makes that have turmeric in it, not turmeric essential oil. So using the essential oil along with those products is going to 10x or 11x the bioavailability of the curcumin in those products. But yes, our dual chamber capsules are amazing. They're convenient. What I like about the oil though is the versatility. You can use it topically. You can use it aromatically. I know a lot of people don't think about diffusing it because it doesn't smell that great, but you can put other things with it. You can put a citrus oil with it and make it smell great. Remember what I said about the AR, the aromatic benefits. You're going to want to take advantage of those for the neuro benefits. And the only way you're going to get the AR is by diffusing it. So even if you don't like the smell, put it with something that you do like the smell of and diffuse that. So the essential oil is versatile. You diffuse it, you use it topically, you take it internally. It's amazing. So you go ahead and use the dual chamber capsules too, but do not sleep on having this oil at all times. Okay, we talked about liver health, and so why is it so important for the liver to be healthy and to be protected? What does that have to do with your heart? So your heart, we know that the cholesterol is coming from the liver, okay? It produces cholesterol. So if we can keep the liver healthy, then we're going to decrease the production of extra or too much cholesterol. And then it's going to help the liver flush out higher amounts of the bad cholesterol. So we need some cholesterol, we need good cholesterol, but turmeric is going to help flush the bad cholesterol out and detoxify the liver that way and curb the production of too much cholesterol. That affects your heart. So you see how the liver affects the heart? And then, okay, I'm not going to talk about that either. I have all this information and all these studies about things that would really make people excited because it's things that we're worried about right now in our current global climate, but I'll probably just go back and talk about that more in another group where we can talk a little bit more freely. But this one, let's talk about having phlegm, okay? Another thing when you diffuse it is stubborn phlegm. You can go ahead and break that up. A lot of time, I have not thought about using turmeric to break up phlegm, but after I did this research, I did use it and had an excellent result, something I didn't know about before. Dental health. Did you think about adding turmeric to your toothpaste for plaque? Okay. Didn't think about that either. The next time you go to your dentist and they're like, well, what are you doing? You have no plaque. I'm using turmeric essential oil in my toothpaste. They'll be like, really? Yes, really. Okay, I think I've talked for long enough. These are supposed to be 15 minutes max, and this is much longer because I could talk about turmeric forever. I could still talk way more, and but I don't want to get in any trouble. I want you to be able to share this video because right now turmeric is something that everybody can stock up on and have for so many different things. And I want you to be able to share this video freely and not have to worry about anything. And so go ahead and do that. Share it, enjoy it, and use your turmeric. Go out and get it. All right, guys, I will talk to you next Tuesday.